world's gone crazy. No ifs, and buts, or maybe. The world's gone crazy.
This world's gone crazy. No ifs, ands, buts, or maybes. This world's gone crazy. If you don't believe me, then relieve me of these beliefs whereby you receive me for understanding to perceive me. For beginners, you got a sharp tongue. That's really a dog one.
Welcome to Urbanversity. This is a new day, new time. We get ready to get our show started. I don't know if it's going to be funny or sublime, but you know, we were just coming off have a little fun before we get started here. And so I see some smiley faces still back there. Brother's thinking about that dog sandwich he ate. And the dog sandwich with some dog mustard on it. Some real dog mustard. But on the real side, let's get started. I'm sorry I can't open you people, you audience up to the joke. Yeah. I got my guest here, my partner in crime, Holy Queen Mother, brother Idris, the real criminal, brother back here over here. And we about to get our show started. What I'm going to talk about today is faith, fear, and sensing of Ahezaah. Okay? We could shoot that off. What was we talking about? What we talked about on our last show. Okay, let's leave that to the last show. That was your show. Yeah, I am on. But faith, fear, and sensing of love. Anybody want to start off? Faith, fear, and sensing of love. We talking about having faith from Allah, fear of Allah, and sensing Ahezaah. Allah, Ahezaah is Allah. The new name of Allah.
Well, I can't go in that order.
Go in the order you want to go.
Oh, okay. I'll start with fear. When you look at the world today, humanity as a whole, you see that there is a lack of fear for Ahezaah. Even down to the so-called people, religious people. And I try not to say religious, but we know that religion is your way of life.
Right.
Even down to the so-called believers in the Supreme One, which they limit to be its creation. That there's a lack of fear. Just think, people make Sunday one day out of the week, and society as a whole, a holy day.
Well, let's correct that. Not just Sunday. Christians make Sunday. Muslims make Friday.
The Jews make Saturday. But
different people make different days.
But what I'm saying is that they all choose to make a one day, a holy day. And for some odd reason, everybody's with I know I'm off the camera, wait a minute. Everybody is with this attitude, well, I went and I prayed, I went and I paid my tithes, I went and I covered my hair, I went and I did this, that, and the other on this day that I worship. So the rest of the week, I'm covered.
Yeah. And I'm going to give you hell.
And I'm going to give you hell. And, we was talking about things earlier today, and I was saying that, people say, well, I wouldn't do this to you because I love you so much. Or, everything is limited. But at the same time, people do things because the love that you have for a person is limited. Do anybody understand what I'm trying to say?
Yeah, you said it. I got a lot to say, but can't talk about it.
It's limited, and because of the lack of love and the lack of fear for Ahezaah, that's why the world is so chaotic. It's so crazy. You know what I'm saying? People leave church and then they go down to the bar and meet they love, or they call them up when they get home, or they get together on Monday and he leaves his wife to go be with his lover. I mean, all this craziness that's going on. You know what I'm saying? And when I was traveling the streets of Newark a couple weeks ago, I went past the AME Church on High, and I was in that area. And then you had the big church on Springfield Avenue, and then you had the Greater Abyssina up on West Kenny. Anyway, I just happened to be in that area driving, going to where I had to go, and there was nowhere to park. There was people walking and everything, and I said, you mean half or more of the people in Newark have gone to worship, but then the city is in total ruin.
Right.
So I think what it is that people just follow suit of their forefathers, and they lack that.
Okay, let's stop right there. We don't want to go into too many things here. We want to address what you said. Your fear, the fear. All right. First of all, let me just say this here. Fear, they say, is the beginning of knowledge. Or, we know that when that's said, that may take on many contexts. What is knowledge? Knowledge is experience. Okay, so when you came out of your mother's womb, you came out in fear. That was different. Because you came out into an experience and you cried and, I remember when I came out, and I mean literally, when I came out, how I didn't want to leave my Lord. I knew my Lord in the womb of my mother, and I was afraid to leave my Lord. And as soon as I came out and it turned me around into the world, I realized that it was there too. And that's before I came into the rationalization of speech and things of that nature. This is what Allah and His mercy have given me as a gift, to remember being in the womb of my mother and coming out and having those experiences and knowing that there was 3 people I was to look for in my life right off the bat. I had a journey and I had to find it, and I knew that it was there, it was present. Now, reasoning come in at an age, when I start becoming more aware, and then I start questioning the world, eating of that tree, the tree of knowledge, the tree of experience, and start forgetting the center, my center of being, Ahezaah. Okay? And then I needed a book. I start searching. I start searching for its words. Start searching for the so-called religion. Well, our people have lost the fear, and fear and love is limitless. The limited that she's talking about in love is the container of your being as a person. You are limited as a container of love. And the people that try to contain love are the ones who get confused and lost from it. Because love is too great for you to contain it. The Lord wants us to be like conduits as vessels, and not like containers, cups, or bowls, like a ship. You see, our worship is like a warship, where we are to, like a cannon, let things come through us. You understand? Now, our people have lost their way from fear of the Lord, because their Lord and their religion, they are the religion of we shall overcome today. Okay? The civil rights religion. That's the religion that they are, our people are, and their gods are people like Barack Obama. The highest height that they can reach in their religion is the White House. Yeah. And some man as their Lord. They might not like it, me saying it, but it's the truth. And they brought their ministers out of their churches into that aspect of the religion, and brought that aspect of the religion, their religion, civil rights movement, to the church. Not realizing that for their ignorance, which outweighs their fear, Right. They have fallen to the tricks that the devil has played on people like Martin Luther King and all the rest of the reverends, so that the devil can get another foothold in the war of the holy war against the devil on our people. So now we're left with the religion of we shall overcome. Overcome what? We shall overcome our fear, and we shall overcome our slavery, and we shall overcome our inhibitions. We shall overcome all the things that our gods has put on us, because they're going to accept us if we keep turning our cheeks enough. Right. And you know, they're accepting us. You see how they're letting us have games and have jobs and have position, and you know, we getting rich, and now we might have a black president, and they're giving us all these things now. But they're not telling us, I'm giving you this bowl because this bowl is falling the hell down. I'm trying to get the hell off earth. Yeah. Because I believe what the Lord said in this day of destruction, because I'm of the devil and I ain't lost from the truth. I just can't submit to it. So you can have it. So let's give them this and give them that so they stay calm and they'll be holding the bag. Everybody look at them as the great Americans, and while we get out of here. If we can find us a planet to get on that will sustain us, we'll leave them all. Yeah. Take no niggers. We'll do what Washington and Lincoln wanted. Leave the niggers. And I know that might sound harsh, but it's the truth. All you out here believers, you know we speak the truth. You know? So that's the religion of our people today. They can't have fear of the Lord because they're not concentrating on the Lord of Lords. Their view, their visions, their aim is not to Allah, it's not to paradise, it's not to Ahezaah. The Muslims, their view, their aims is not to Allah. They ain't got rid of spirituality in Islam. They ain't got rid of spirituality in Christianity. And Christianity is about capitalism, money. Well, if you with Jesus, you'll have money. You know, you will have power, you will have fame. You know, Muslims, you know, Allahu Akbar, and I'm dying for the cause. And what's the cause? The land, I guess, whatever my sheikh or whatever my imam says, you know, this our cause. Whoa.
Right. And you know what the thing is, if people have a problem in accepting what we're saying, just sit back and look at this here. If you got all these people going to all these different churches, and the amount of people that attend the churches and the masjid is way more than the Crips and the Bloods and the Latino gangs and every gang out there on the street, then why we have them? Why are they out there?
They're cursed from Allah. They're cursed from Ahezaah.
Because they're a small group compared to those who go inside that church.
Right.
You know, so if Ahezaah was so pleased with what I'm only to speak to where I'm at in this time, then you wouldn't have that going on because the numbers surely outweigh the other numbers.
Rabbi, tell me this here. How is the good, gentle Christians going to put a war together when their masters of Christianity and Catholicism is the beasts who are going out there killing everybody else up in the world talking about peace, dropping bombs and propaganda and drugs and guns on the ghetto and all around the world, and telling them to be gentle and turn the other cheek? How they gonna go against those guys out there that said, the hell with you and you'll turn the other cheek? You turn the other cheek and I'm gonna shoot you in it. How they gonna go against it when they could watch their mother and father or whomever get killed and they sit down and cry, Lord Jesus? Right. And Jesus was a man who said, Lord, Lord, Father, why have thou forsaken me? Just like them saying, Lord Jesus. And how they gonna fight that? They can't. I don't care if it's 3 Crips or Bloods out there. They can't fight them because They are the timid and tamed, caged in their churches, caged in their mentality, caged in their masjids. It's like these Muslims, these black Muslims who was afraid what Elijah Muhammad was calling them to stand up and fight for their rights and fight for their people, fight for themselves. Then a lot of them chumps, soon as Deen come out and say, oh no, sister, take off your clothes and get in the business. You can go to the military, let's get rid of all symbols of worship, raise the flag of America. They say, oh, we can join that because the white man ain't gonna be mad with us. All right, who gonna be the greatest mujahideen?
Yeah.
Big fakes. They a bunch of fake Muslims out there. They ain't got no cause but fighting one another just like the Crips and Bloods fighting one another. High Street masjid, Martin Luther King masjid, don't agree with this masjid. The church, one AME don't agree with the Protestants or this, that, and the other. Come on, all the same people, reading from the same books, can't agree with one another while their demon lords stand back and rule them. Divide and conquer. How they gonna fight these elements? That's why Mars cursed them.
Right.
I used to put this curse
I
on
know
them.
that one thing I could say, Lord Holy Apostle has taught us, and we sit on this show, but it's not really Lord Holy Apostle try to teach as much as he can, but in a private setting, we have learned so much from Holy Apostle. One of the things that we did learn is that words are alive and carry weight.
Yes.
And they have a heavy effect on your life. And one of the things that the Caucasian Institute, and if you don't believe me, go and search the internet or ask Caucasians. Caucasians never refer to their young men as gentlemen. They don't use that kind of language. They instituted these kind of language that they call manners in our neighborhood, in our society, so that they could keep you in order, so that you would never raise up and look at them for who they are. So we say, he's a nice gentleman. Who want a gentle man? If you too damn soft, then that means when somebody breaking in the house, you gonna be under the bed with me. So we have to look at these what we use in raising our children and be careful. Oh, my little, he is such a gentleman. No, I don't want him to call him a damn, I don't know what to call him. I ain't gonna say, because I ain't gonna say those things. But I'm saying, be careful, because, and women especially, because you make them gentle, next thing I know, they homosexual.
And that's something else I want to speak about too.
So you have to be careful. But Lord Holy Apostle, now that you tuning into our show, hopefully you can listen closely, and hopefully you can do some self-evaluating yourself with words. Because Holy Apostle always taught us that words are alive, words are things. Don't let people let you think lightly of words that you use, just like the word ghetto. We said, oh, she's ghetto, he's ghetto, this ghetto, that ghetto, and we make it fashionable. They use that word ghetto for a reason. But see, not understanding the words, ghetto is a state of mind. It ain't that, see, they make you think, oh, you live in the ghetto. Just because Ahezaah have not given you the money to go live up in the suburbs with them, they try to make you feel low about yourself, and you feel low about yourself. Yeah, I was raised in the ghetto, I lived in the ghetto. All these negative things, they turn to be negative and get your mind in a certain set where then somebody that moved out of the so-called ghetto, you looking at them as they better. You got to be careful. They use these words. If you're put in a situation where you can't move out of your environment, then try to make the best out of where you at and try to call other people to make their environment nice. You ain't got to live on Snob Hill to be important to yourself or to anybody else. Just like people that live on Snob Hill now, came from the project, they try to shun away that they came from the project. You'd be surprised how many people that they so-called think they made it. They ain't made it because they don't even have a pass no more. They have a race they pass. So, just as something for yourself to do as you're, going along in your daily activity, examine words and examine how the words make you feel when you speak them or when someone's speaking to you. Okay. Whew.
But I would think that, I'm so sorry.
No, because I know that if I go, you might not get a chance.
If the people began to think seriously to start looking inward into themselves and like it's very well, that great wisdom from Ahezaah to say, take care of where you are. Take care of where you are. Start to look at yourself and where you are. You look at it as a ghetto. You start to give it a negative, then you in turn start to be proud of the negative. You start to take ownership of the negative, like it's okay. I'm ghetto and I'm proud of it. Ghetto being a negative.
Where the word ghetto come from? You gotta look at words. Let's just take a look at the word ghetto. It seems like it's saying get to. They got to you. You gotta get to them. They got to. They get you, right?
I laugh because our people and our thought process have analyzed and made this thing out. But the original ghettos were anybody conglomerate, was a large group of people conglomerated. The Jews had a ghetto, the Irish had a ghetto, the Italians had a ghetto, they all lived in a ghetto, where they all mingle.
Yes.
But our people have made it
Our world.
and raised it here. Now I'm ghetto fabulous. And I enjoy that. And I live in that mindset. Like I told them.
Well, those are illusions. See, the whole thing about the ghettoites is that about people, we have now accepted.
Yeah.
So now, since we can't get out, well, I'm ghetto fabulous. I'm ghetto great. I'm the ghetto king. I rule the ghetto. This is my block.
Yeah.
I'm a king of my block. These my boys. You ain't running this. I'm running this. You running for who? You know what I'm saying?
And the man got you right situation, he knows
Right
where you at.
But I was thinking about when the people are the news, when the mass of the people that are polluted, and how necessary it is for those elite those people that's running things, that's shooting all this stuff to people's minds through the media and through wherever, through the music or whatever, to make them submissive. First, make them submissive to make them,
Do you know how the suburbs got established for black folks, how bourgeoisie got established?
No.
When people become so smart in the ghetto, the gen gotta get them out of there before they make other people smart.
Right.
So they had to establish a place for them to get away from them, the people, the great masses. And then they had to make them middle class divided. So they point at them and say, we're making you middle class suffer because of those low class.
Right.
We're not gonna let them low class make us suffer. They making you suffer. Now they got all the power. Who put them in the power? The low class and the middle class put them in power.
Yeah.
Power to rule them and tell them that they're the fault. So here go the bourgeoisie hating the low class and thinking that they become some different animal because they got a degree and they got a job that's paying good money.
Right.
Huh? And here we go with niggerism at the highest level.
That's like a
Divide and conquer.
Divide and conquer. Now, I said I wanted to say something about homosexuality. I've been thinking about this for days because I walk past people, the people have been, since it's been hot, like my wife says, you tuning in. People been tuning in. I've been telling you that for years, that people was tuning in. People ain't gonna just listen to Ahezaah's word in private and then walk away from it. They might do it in front of their peers, but I guarantee you got a lot of Muslims sitting back listening to the truth of what we speak, the wisdom of what we speak. They'd be a fool not to listen to it and not to study it and not to go investigate it. They'd be a fool. Would you be a fool in private? If you playing like you're a fool around your peers because you're afraid of them, you don't want to step up like a real mujahideen and say, hey, I stand for truth and I don't like what's going on here.
Right.
when it comes to you in private, you sit back and say, let me see, yeah, what he's saying. Well, I can't tell brother so-and-so and brother thing, or check so-and-so. Man, I hear what he's saying.
Right.
You understand? Now, we got positive and negative. They hearing it because it's hot, and they flipping the channels, and they seeing this, and they say, I see you on television, and so forth and so on. Yes. I have a niece who's a homosexual. Love him, you know, have always loved him. Disturbed by him. Disturbed by her choice, just like I was disturbed by her mother's choice. Her mother almost ruined my life as a child, brought me into a whole lot of things that, you know, really shocked my world. And still haven't stood up and took ownership of that, you know? And my poor niece, you know, who I babysitted and diapered, man, from the time she was born to maybe when she was 7, 8 years old, you know, doing what I was doing for her until she was about 5, 6 years old or so. So I love her. She's like my own child. But my brother died, and she chose the way of her mother, becoming homosexual. And I remember once, not long ago, I seen her, and I told her, you know, I love her and everything. And she was disturbed because she loves me. And she wants to know, why would I turn on her, and why would I act the way I act when she never did anything to me? But she did do something to me. You know, she went against the way that Allah had called me and her father and her mother. You see, and being that she's my blood, she affects me in certain ways, just like I affect her in my rejection of her ways. Right. See, she affects me in her ways of being. Now, if you're watching, Leah, one of your friends watching, maybe they can tell you this, that one of the things you did that disturbed me is just like you came to my father's funeral in a man's clothing, man's outfit. And you know my father did not stand for that when he was alive. He didn't vouch, he didn't agree with that, you know? And then you disgraced him at his funeral. You know, singing in your songs, you know, beautiful songs, you sing beautiful and everything, but you didn't have any tact. You could have at least dressed up like a young lady and came and sung your songs. But I don't blame you, because my mother and my sisters and brothers, they allowed you, when they denied me, to have any say at my father's funeral. So, you know, but that's one of the things you did, you know, and there's other things you did. I'm not going to bring that out, but there's a lot of things you've done unconsciously in your way of life. That's your choice. And the reason I'm saying this is because I ran into someone, I think Noah, and I don't know what they call themselves. We used to call them dykes, studs, or whatever. Looked like a man, and I said, how you doing? And they gave me a very nasty good morning, and very nasty attitude, seemingly. But I wasn't sure if they were just trying to be, she was trying to be manly, or that was the spirit I felt, the vibrations was negative. Well, we're not going to, on this show and in my books or whatever I used to give me to say, I'm not going to go against my Lord and act as though what mankind has done to the holy books is right. And I'm not going to get into I'll never get on the show and go into this thing where we debate about the Bible or the Holy Quran and the Bible recitation. Right. You know, the Lord is not in agreement, a positive agreement with homosexuality. That's why it left the story about destroying Sodom and Gomorrah, and that's why the people, you know, who go in that direction, they call them sodomites. You know, when they sodomize, going behind of a man, and you know, and play in that dirty field, you know. I believe that, you know, you have a right to be wrong, no matter who you are. They have a right to be wrong. And even though you'll hear me speak against homosexuality, you still have your right to be wrong. And like my niece, I have a right to keep my children away from her. She's chose that way, and I believe it's wrong. And I believe it's my duty to raise my children, try to protect my children until they understand the difference between the right and wrong that I understand and the right and wrong they want to understand. The reasoning. I got a grandson I believe is a homosexual. I got a granddaughter I believe is a homosexual. You understand? Dipping and dabbing in that way. I have had another niece that went into the homosexuality and came out. The thing about it is my love for them don't change. My tolerance, that's what changes. I'm not going to allow them to be at liberty to have freedom to be with my children.
If you don't believe me, then relieve me of these beliefs whereby you receive me for understanding to perceive me. For beginners, you got a sharp tongue that's really a dull one. Leading black